Take a look at this COPO that we've been working on for Mike Kiesling. I'm going to show you a lot of little details of the car. Got it up and running, and pretty soon it'll be actually running hard. So here at the back end, we've got a special rear suspension, wishbone, 9-inch. Alright, starting at the back of the car here, we've got our double parachutes and custom wing from rear view. And then we go into 2 transmission coolers. These are pretty nice large size tranny coolers with their own fan setup on them. Over here on the left, that is the dry sump overflow tank. Right here is the dry sump drain. Fuel system is being bulkheaded through the floor there, so there's the bulkheads for the fuel system. And then there's a lot of fuel line and oil lines happening on this car. The car has 2 fuel systems for 8 injectors each, so what you're seeing on that is you're seeing a feed and return for each fuel system. And then the big boy lines that you see there, those are the dry sump, because the dry sump is in the trunk of the car, so you got a feed and return on the dry sump. And then you've got tranny cooler lines. And then we'll kind of fall back here. You can go, you got your shaft loop. That's a gear vendor's overdrive. And that's made it to a 3-speed Lenco. And in front of the Lenco is a Bruno. And then this is kind of interesting, because here's all the water lines, because we have reservoirs in the car for the intercooler and additional water, since this is a mild car. So we have water running from the inside of the car underneath the floor. Kind of see some of the support brackets for all of that. And now we're looking at the motor. There's all the dry sump lines on the motor. And you get into intercooler piping into the intercooler. And that's the bottom of the car there. We went ahead and made some side outlet for the exhaust. So we got 4-inch exhaust coming out the side of the fender there. And kind of made a nice little plate. Carbon ceramic lamb brakes. Of course, you get the nice forge line rims. In the front, we've got our feed and turbo air right where the fog lights were. So the turbos are picking up air from each fog light. There's still a little billet piece that we have to put in there for our radius. And get a view of the exhaust. Now it's going out the side of the fender right there. Alright, inside the front suspension here. Okay, so inside the front suspension here, we've actually tied into a speed sensor for the front wheel, and that ties into the boost controller there, so that can give you, we're going to regulate the boost based on mile per hour on the front wheel speed. So that's something that's kind of neat right there. Alright, under the hood of this 5th generation Camaro is where the magic happens. You don't see this very often, but this is a 632 cubic inch twin turbocharged Nelson Alien Monster. got of course, it's got our alien intake, and it's got the new anteater snout that's 5-inch oval. Some stainless headers. Of course, we got 88s. That's an air-to-water intercooler right there. Got a big multi-stage dry sump happening. That's a bad boy. You don't normally see big blocks in a 5th gen like this. All the hard lines, all the stainless piping. Looks pretty clean for a race car, that's for sure. Alright, so this is inside the trunk here. You can see the 2 different fuel cells, the plumbing, and of course we've got the dry sub tank. Those are after filters. And inside here, even though it's dark, we've got our 16 volt and 12 volt setup, and we've got a kill on the back of the bumper and a special setup where it kills both 12 and 16 volts with that push-pull. Of course, you got a little voltage gauge right there. You got your pull to open the trunk, and then there's some charging posts in there. Right there's some charging posts to charge the battery, so when you're in the pits you can just trickle it up. Got the roof rails built into this for high speed. Alright, so there's a view of the cockpit right there. Those handles are for the Lenco. So you've got a 3-speed Lenco. And then this selector right here, this is neutral, forward, and reverse. Of course, we've got our power switches. We'll look on the inside of the car. As you can see, these are extra water reservoir. The one on the left here is for the engine. We've built an overflow into it and actually made it pressurized. And the one in the back is for the air-to-water intercooler. Alright, so here's kind of a view of the... We've got, you know, some electric pumps happening for the engine and for the intercooler. We also have a mechanical pump on the engine. We've got CO2 for the tranny right here. And then we've also got CO2 for the boost controller. Alright, so what we got going on here, we got our boost control, all of our fuses, relays, electromotive computer that controls the engine. We made that all accessible. You know, being a race car, we wanted to make sure you could get at everything here. There's the double chute pull on the roof bar. Alright, here's a kind of a cockpit view here. Got a removable wheel, and we've got trans brake, increase horsepower, decrease horsepower, and gear vendor's overdrive on the steering wheel here, so he can be, if he's hooked up, he can add more power. If he's not hooked up, he can subtract power, and he can click into overdrive all on the steering wheel here. Got the tack, and then above that we've got double air-fuel ratio gauges. Those are always really nice and helpful. Well, guys, I hope you like it. Sorry there's not more action here, but kind of just more of a detail thing, and real happy the way it came out.